We shall discuss about lesson number 20, the punctuation. You all of you get ready with page number 182 of your book. Everybody must open your book with you. Page number 182. While speaking, we use short pauses, long pauses, particular tones to ask questions and express feelings such as surprise, sadness, happiness, and so on. When we read something, when we speak something, when we read out the paragraph, we use some short pauses, we use the long pauses, and our tone is accordingly. If we are reading a question or asking a question, we'll ask in that way. And while studying the chapter interjection also, we studied that if the sentence is expressing the joy or sorrow, in that tone we read out or we speak out. Such pauses and tones make the listener understand what the speaker wishes to communicate. When we speak to someone, by listening the pauses or the tones, the listener will understand what the speaker is speaking, what the speaker wants to communicate. Similarly, when we write, we need to indicate some pauses and tones in order to convey our intended meaning better. When we write also, if we write a paragraph, at that time also we need to use the proper punctuation marks to so that one who is going to read out will understand in a better way. To make these communicative intentions clear in written communication, we use punctuation to convey what we are going to write, to make others understand what we are going to write. We have to use the proper punctuation marks. We'll begin with the first one, that is capitalization. The first one is capitalization. Capitalization means using the capital letters, and we know we use the capital letters in the beginning of the sentence. Every sentence begins with the capital letter and all the proper nouns are beginning with the capital letter. This is called the capitalization. Capital letters are used in some other context as well. The following section shows you where capital letters are used. Now let us see the different uses of capital letter. The general usage of capital letter we know very well. Every sentence begins with a capital letter and all the proper nouns begins with a capital letter. Let's see what else begins with a capital letter. The first one is, the first word of every line of a poem usually begins with a capital letter. When you write down the poem, when you read the poem from your English text, you can notice that every line of the poem is beginning with the capital letter. The first word of the reported speech in direct speech begins with a capital letter. When I explained to you about the direct and indirect, when I taught you that chapter, do you remember? I told you that whatever is spoken by the speaker is written within the inverted comma. And within the inverted comma, whatever is written should begin with the capital letter. The first word should be with capital. The next use is, the pronoun in the first person singular I is always written as a capital letter. The pronoun I, whether it comes in the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence, it is always written in the capital letter. The first letter of names of days and months are written with capital letter. All the names of days, names of months, we always begin with capital letter, whether we write in between the sentence also. Then words other than prepositions, conjunctions and articles in the title of books and other published works are written with capital letter. This is very, very important. Some of the students do not know how to write the title or names of the book or any other published works. Dear children, in that only the preposition, conjunction and articles are not beginning with the capital letter. Rest all the words are beginning in capital letter when we write any title. Clear? For example, A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities. It is the name of any, this is the title. Clear? We have studied the rule, prepositions, conjunction and articles do not begin with the capital. But here you can see A is an article. If any article falls in the beginning of the title, if any article comes in the beginning of the title, in that case it will begin with a capital letter. Clear? Otherwise, if it is in between, article A and or the is in between, they will not begin with capital letter. Tale. Tale, T is in capital, of, O is in small because it's a preposition. Clear? Again, two, T is capital, cities, C is capital. In any title, if any preposition, conjunction or article comes, those words are written in small, otherwise rest all the words we write in a capital. Clear? So this always you should remember, even for writing the names of the chapter. Clear? You should remember this rule. The next rule is words other than prepositions, conjunction and articles in the names of government departments and official designations are written with capital letter. If we are writing the names of government departments or any official designations, they should always begin, each and every word should begin with capital except the preposition, conjunction and article. See here the example, Government of West Bengal. Government of West Bengal, this is the name of the government department. Government of West Bengal, government G should be in capital, of O will be small because it's a preposition, West W will be in capital, Bengal B will be in capital. Now words that are used to refer to God are written with capital letters. Whatever words are referring to God, we should begin with capital. See, God the Almighty. Almighty word is said for the Lord, for the God. So A should be in capital letter. God is indicating to God. G should be in capital letter. So all these were the rules for the capitalization. When and where we have to use the capital letters. Now let's see other punctuation marks in detail. The next one is full stop. Second one we'll discuss about full stop. We use punctuation marks to help the reader understand and write better. Clear? In the beginning I have told you this. Now full stop. When do we use full stop? Full stop is always written at the end of the assertive sentence. If it is a declarative sentence or assertive sentence, at the end of that sentence we put full stop, and even after the imperative sentence also we put full stop. Let's see the definition. The full stop represents the longest pause. This is the longest pause. It also called a period. We use a full stop to mark the end of a statement, a command, a request or an instruction. Full stop is the longest pause. Clear? It means, first of all you should know that after all the assertive and imperative sentences we put full stop. And wherever there is a full stop after every sentence, it means it is the longest pause. We have to stop there. Clear? Do not continue the next sentence along with the same. Between two sentences, after one sentence, when the first sentence will get over, there will be full stop. Means you have to stop there for a while and then you have to start reading your next sentence. Even when you are writing something, writing a paragraph, if one sentence is over, you should put the full stop. Never forget this. Now, full stop is used. Let's see some other uses of full stop. At the end of an assertive or an imperative sentences, we put full stop. I have already explained you. Let's see the example. Mona is a good person. This is an assertive sentence. So, after this, when the sentence gets over, there is full stop. Next is after abbreviations and initials. When we write the abbreviations, the short forms of something, we put full stop. Or when we write the initials, in that case also we put full stop. After abbreviation, suppose MA. You know, MA is the short form of Master of Arts. Clear? So, it's the abbreviation for Master of Arts. So, we write after M, full stop, after A, full stop. Clear? For example, if we write any initial means the first name and the second middle name in a short. For example, R.K. Sharma, if we write R.K. Sharma, this is the first name, middle name, and this is the surname. After these initials also, we put full stop. Now, here you can see in your book, after Mr. and Mrs. the full stop is given. Actually, the abbreviations which are ending, abbreviation ends with the final letter of the full word. We avoid putting full stop after them. Clear? For example, doctor. What is its abbreviation? You know, all of you know DR is the short form of doctor. Clear? Earlier, we were putting full stop after every abbreviation. But nowadays, when your abbreviation last letter and the full word's last letter are same, in that case, we do not write the full stop after the abbreviation. When the last letters of the abbreviation and the full word are same, in that case, we omit writing the full stop after the abbreviation. Clear? Remember this? The next rule is between numbers to denote a decimal fraction. You can see here 3.85, comma 109.99. When we show the decimal fraction, we put full stop there, dot we put there. Clear? Next is, the next punctuation mark is comma. Dear children, comma is the shortest pause. Shortest pause means you have to stop there just for a while, for a little time. Clear? For few seconds you have to stop there. You have to take a pause there, wherever there is comma. Let's see the usage of comma. When and where we use comma. The comma is used to separate 3 or more words of the same part of speech. If more than the 3 or more nouns are used together, we separate those nouns by using commas. If 3 or 4 adjectives are used together, we separate them by using comma. Let's see the example given here on page number 184. I went to visit my aunt, uncle, younger brother and grand aunt. Here you can see the list of nouns. Aunt, uncle, younger brother, grand aunt. There are 4 nouns used together. Clear? You can see here after the first noun there is comma, after the second noun there is comma, and between the third and the fourth noun we have not used comma. Instead that we have used the conjunction. Clear? Likewise we use comma. The next use of comma is words to separate the words, phrases or clauses in a sentence. Clear? To separate the phrases, clauses or sentences in a words, phrases or clauses in a sentence. Let's see example. The teacher, however, didn't scold the students. The teacher is a phrase. However is the word. Didn't scold the students. Now see, here you can see the words and phrases are separated by using commas. The next rule is a subordinate clause of any kind that comes before the principal clause. Very important thing. Subordinate clause means the dependent clause. Sometimes dependent clause comes after the main clause. But sometimes the sentence begins with the dependent clause or the subordinate clause followed by the main clause. When the subordinate clause comes in the beginning of the sentence, we put comma and then we write the main clause. Clear? Let's see this example here. If I come, you have to spend time with me. If I come is a subordinate clause here, the dependent clause. It has come in the beginning of the sentence. So after the subordinate clause, you can see comma and then the main clause is written. The next use is to separate a noun of address from the rest of the sentence. To separate the noun of address, whom we are addressing. That noun is separated from rest of the sentence by using comma. Vinay, you better catch your cab. Now here addressing to Vinay. So Vinay is separated from rest of the sentence by using comma. The next use is different parts of a date in a letter or a written passage. When we write any passage or when we write any letter, we put the date there, isn't it? So the different parts of the date are separated. For example, today's date is 17 January, 2022. Clear? Date and month is separated from the year by using comma in between. Then different parts of an address. When we write any address, different parts of the address are separated by using commas. See here in your book the example. Presidency College, 86/1 College Street, Kolkata 73. Likewise, we write the address. The next use of comma is a question tag from the main sentence. You have studied about the question tag, no? Do you remember? I hope you all remember that. After the sentence, when we write a short question, that is called the question tag. And your question tag is always separated from the sentence by using comma. See the example. You are coming with me, comma, aren't you? Aren't you is the question tag. It is separated from rest of the sentence by using comma. The reported speech from rest of the sentence in indirect speech. You have studied the previous chapter about direct and indirect. You studied that the reported speech, the reporting word or the introducing word is always separated from the quoted speech by using comma. Clear? And you can see an example. He said, a stitch in time saves 9. Now see here, said is introducing verb. That is separated from the quoted speech by using comma. Now a comma is also used, some more uses of comma, to mark off phrases in apposition. Apposition means noun phrases which follow one another and refer to the same person or thing. Sometimes the noun phrases more than one noun phrase in a sentence referring to the same person. More than one noun phrase which is referring to the same person is called apposition. Let's see example. Tagore, India's national poet, received the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. Tagore, India's national poet. Tagore and India's national poet is said for the same person. Clear? So these kind of words or phrases are also separated by using commas. To avoid repeating a verb, sometimes in a sentence, if the same verb is used, clear? Just to avoid the repetition of a verb, we can use comma. See here, example in your book. Rumi studies mathematics and Rishi English. Here in the second sentence for Rishi, we are not using the verb again. We are not saying Rishi studies English. Instead that we can put comma. We can avoid repeating the verb again for the next subject. For the next subject also the verb is same. So in that case we can avoid repeating the same verb. Instead that we can use comma. After the salutation and the complimentary clause in a letter, you have studied the format of the letter writing. The salutation, we write dear sir, dear madam, these are the salutations. After the salutation we put comma, and after the complimentary clause when we end up the letter, we write yours sincerely, yours faithfully, truly yours, yours affectionately, yours lovingly. All these are the complimentary clause. After the complimentary clause also we put comma. So these were the different rules when to use commas to separate which kind of words or phrases we use commas, and in the detail we studied all the different uses of commas. I hope this much is clear to everyone. Okay.